things, as we all are trainers here. So I think we have a lot to discuss with each other, and that's how training usually become one of the events where we all get a chance to talk, communicate, and learn simultaneously. So taking a lot of time of yours, I would want to introduce you about the topic that I have for today. So I would personally would not get into a lot of you know theoretical bit of what research is, as we have talked about it from past 4 days. I would be talking about a different bit to it, which is why people do research and how research these days, how researchers are important so that they can be put forth in front of the people, and how they can be used as training material, or maybe how they can be used as a part of the 21st century upgraded learning modules that the curriculums have, and also how schools, colleges, and other institutions are developing and bringing in the range of research, promoting and encouraging students to do research from a young age. So it is very exciting to see that how research is turning out to be one of the very interesting profession and very interesting subject for even the young children. When we conduct train the trainer programs with a lot of schools or with principals, it is really observed that students these days, young learners these days, are very much inclined and fascinated towards this subject known as research. But looking at the growing needs and looking at the changing curriculums, whether in colleges or in schools, I think there has to be a bit changes that we need to bring into the research pattern. Very nicely covered by Dr. Shweta, the graphic novel concept, which is you know really important, because I think that's where creativity comes into picture. But most importantly, looking at the growing times and looking at the century where we all are in, there has to be a lot of other development that we need to ensure as facilitators, as trainers, as educators, so that the researchers can actually come out to reflect what they are really meant to. So today's session, I would be covering that particular bit and would be talking about the 21st century principles of research and reflection that we really need to do with our researchers. So here I would like to present my screen. Let me know once you all can see that. I would really be happy if you all could have a very interactive session with each other, and if you all could interact via the chat box that we have, or maybe if you would want to intervene in between. I would love to have a very interactive and a two-way session, and that's how the session is going to be interesting, as well as for us it's going to be informative for both the sides. Is the screen visible for everyone?
It shows that the presentation is being shared, but we cannot see any presentation, Shivanti.
Maybe, sir, it will take a moment. Even I cannot reflect. So, yeah. Is it better now? Can you see?
No, it's just a black screen over there.
Actually, earlier it was visible, but now it's not.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we got it.
Is it visible?
Yeah, it is.
Great. So I would not do it full screen, because I think on Google Meet, if you allow full screen, there's a challenge that you will not be able to see the people who are there in the meeting. So I hope this is okay for everyone. Is it fine with everyone?
Yes, it's okay.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. So research in 21st century, as we discussed about the changing times, we talked about how learning and development is changing, and research being an integral part of what learning and development is as a whole. I think there are a lot of changes that we need to impart, that we need to incorporate in the subject matter expertise of doing and conducting research, or maybe involving our students to do that, encouraging them, persuading them to do that. So when we talk about research, there would be a lot of changes that you all would have observed very clearly, being into this profession, being into this industry for years. But looking the changing times, I'm sure you would also agree with me that A lot of things have gone online. There is a lot of presence over the soft copy material rather than the hard copy material. Books changing to Kindle, internet changing to more of the research, more of the visuals coming into picture. Students or maybe the researchers are now more inclined towards watching videos rather than getting engaged into book readings. So what do you think? I would like to put up a question here for all the people who are there in the meeting room. What do you think? Is it a good way? Do you think is it something which is going to benefit the researchers? Do you think the industry would be revolutionized in 21st century, wherein we have got a lot of change to the segment, into the sector that we are considering? Anyone who would wish to answer, I would love to know your response. Any professor? Yes, ma'am, please. I would love to hear the answer from you.
Yes, definitely. Because of this coronavirus, there is a paradigm shift in the way we are dealing with our personal lives as well as professional lives. So definitely, everything is going to change from now on.
And I think the pandemic has got a lot of opportunities, and that's where I can see that hardcore research papers being created by students, even the professionals are engaged into creating that. But during this phase, I observed that there are a lot of changes that are coming in. Less of reading, more of visual time, more of visual communication happening with the books, with the videos, wherein the research is getting changed. And that also points out to something very interesting here, that as professors, as facilitators, maybe now we have to give them more visual material rather than giving them the links to the, maybe, the links to the books, or maybe links to the references, or maybe to the illusions. At times, yes, I will never deny the fact that being into research, that will ever help us stop the reading content. But I think more important is to absorb the content, which is now being changed to a little more graphic, little more visual, wherein students, people now prefer to do research. They're more inclined towards this particular segment, and they also prefer to have more of the visual graphics. They prefer to have more videos. They prefer to have more, just like ma'am talked about graphic novels. That's a brilliant concept which has actually came into the picture long back, but still people are following and aping towards those conventional patterns of doing research and making the research papers. Even till date, there are very few people who by themselves voluntarily come with the concept of doing research or coming up with a paper which has a lot of graphic content into it. So looking at the changing times, I think now there has to be a change and shift from persuading them to read a lot of things, rather than we should give them a lot of links. We should give them a lot of insights through pictures, videos. There has to be more visual communication happening in the research segment. And again, there are a lot of ways through which we all can do that, and we all can impart this into our curriculum as research professors. So there are, when we try to search for the links, when we try to go for the illusions, simultaneously we get some exciting videos about it. So I think now, as a trainer, as a facilitator, as a research coach, we should try to shift from giving them more of the links, reading material. We should rather give them something which is more exciting, because looking at the changing times, there are a lot of other skills that that needs to be developed in a particular individual. It's not just about the good research that they can do, or maybe about the good reading skills that they possess. It's also about the creativity and innovation. It's also about how they are digitally presenting what they have created as a paper, or maybe what they have done as a research, right? So here I think as there has to be a shift. My particular topic is a little different from what the others have had chosen for the same. And therefore, I would like to consider more onto the training bit of it, that how, as facilitators, as research coach, how can we bring some kind of changes into our training methodologies, or maybe our facilitation approach, so that we can make it more interesting, creative, and innovative, looking at the changing times that we all are in. So I hope it is good so far. Everything has become more digitalized, computerized. A lot of transition from those conventional, patterns of doing research to the new patterns wherein people are more inclined towards doing courses online, researching online about a particular subject matter. Research is not always about creating a research paper. A simple research, it could be on any subject matter, any topic we can particularly assign to a student and they can do the research. But the entire bit of making them do the research has to have some skills that we are trying to impart in a particular individual as a coach. So I think from that particular point of view, we have to have some transitions from what we were doing and what we have to do in the near future. So more of the visual content should be promoted. More of the digitalized, digitalization should be bring into the picture, specifically in the industry where research papers are created. So this is what I would want to. This is what I wanted to communicate via this particular slide. But here comes a very, very important concept. Not just from a student's perspective, but also from a perspective of a researcher or maybe of a coach or a facilitator. I think whatsoever we are making our students do, it has to have some personalized learning for them. While we do research, even if we do a research onto a topic, right, there are a lot of things that we have to undergo. It's not just about researching different websites or going through different books or maybe going through different links or videos. This is properly, I think that this is like a kind of a vicious cycle that we tend to create. Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, do you have anything to ask? There was somebody who spoke something.
I think it was by mistake. Kindly continue.
Yeah. Yes. So I think now that if we ourselves are doing a research for a topic, there are a lot of things that we tend to observe, we tend to see while we are doing research for a particular topic. There are at times we tend to deviate from the topic. So and when we talk about a research paper, which is a lengthier process, I would say. So there, I think a student has got a lot of learning experience. And that's where the actual learning emerges, wherein a student is undergoing a lot of research, doing a lot of research and observing a lot of content. And that's what is the actual learning experience that a student gets to do, or maybe I would say get to have during this entire process of being into a research zone. So personalized learning has to be one such priority that we as facilitators need to ensure among our students, that whatever we are assigning them, maybe if we are assigning them a topic, we should definitely talk about, we should definitely discuss about the personalized learning experiences that different students have. Research is not an easy task. Everybody cannot do that. It's not everybody's cup of tea. So if you think that we are dealing with that particular set of people who are great at doing research, I think there has to be now some kind of more usually when we discuss about research people, they speak very less. That has been a tendency that I have observed whenever we get a chance to speak to research scholars. They speak very less. They don't prefer discussing a lot about their research at times. They do, but not very openly. Not very openly like that of maybe being a speaker or maybe being a trainer or maybe a normal person. If you've done something, if you've researched something, we tend to share it with the world. But those people, they do a lot of research, but they don't feel like sharing it directly, via word of mouth. So here, I think as teachers, as facilitators, as trainers, we should entertain their personal experiences, and this should be an integral part of whatever research we are aligning them, whatever research we are assigning them. So as a facilitator, we need to ensure that as they are doing their research, they are undergoing a lot of challenges, they would experience a lot of new things. So we should be aware of the learning experiences that they are engaging, that they are getting during that particular phase of research. So now when we talk about personalized learning and when we talk about research, I think these are the two terms which are very much interrelated to each other. And there comes something very important, which is called collaborative efforts. So while we are up on a research, it's not just about the literal research that we are doing. People get to do a lot of surveys. Students, they do a lot of surveys just to understand what the market trends are, or maybe on a particular subject matter, if they're aligned to do something, if they're assigned to do something, they tend to do a lot of research related to that particular topic. So knowing that it is that they are trying to come up with some kind of learning that they would have during this entire process of the research, I think collaborative efforts and networked forms of expertise, we should give them. We should allow them to share their experiences, and we should try to appreciate them. Now, what the question here is that while students, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Yes, you are audible.
There was the stop of this green light, so I thought maybe I have started.
I listen to you keenly.
Okay. So students need to be able to develop their personal learning needs. Why a person do research has a lot of reasons. Nobody is doing without any reason, because people love to do it, and why they love to do it also has a reason. So as a trainer, as an educator, we must understand what their personal objectives are. And also realizing and making sure that they realize this fact that curiosity and creativity are essential. Those black and white papers are no more into the picture any time now in the coming future. So it's essentially important for us to engage and to have this particular element of curiosity and creativity in the research papers, in the research that we are trying to do. And there are a lot of ways, I'm sure you all would use a lot of ways to have and to inculcate the element of creativity specifically in the research that we are trying to give to our students. Now that when we talk about learning, I would say for every individual, learning has a different meaning. For some, it would be the experience that they have gained specifically while they were doing research. For some people, it could be, the writing skills, because they love writing, a lot of things. They do research. So just to understand what is the objective, what is the reason as to why a student is doing research is very important. In order to make this particular segment something which people are very excited about, we have to bring in a lot of elements from our side. We have to bring in the concept of facilitation. Yes, we have to bring in the concept of facilitation in research, which is very, very important. As a trainer, as a teacher, we all are really good. But when it really comes to the facilitation bit of it, I think now it's time that research also needs a lot of revolutionization in terms of how we are imparting it, how we are making them do, what are the collaborative efforts that we are doing from our end as a trainer, as a coach, as a mentor. So therefore, it is essentially important for us to ensure that students are engaged into a very, very collaborative learning atmosphere, wherein we all are allowing them Hello?
Yes.
Yes. So I think collaborative learning models should be created while we are engaging our students. If there is a particular student who has opted for a subject which is related to research, which has a lot of research element into it, we have to make our modules very creative. We have to ensure that there is a lot of peer learning happening. There are a lot of discussions happening wherein you are getting to know what your the fellow, what is he up to, why is he doing it, what is the reason behind it. So all these things are really important for us to know, so that when they come up with their papers, when they come up with the research, they are why they did that, what was the purpose, and how they are going to how they are going to make a change, and how they want people to read that particular material that they have created. If I have created a research paper, why would people read it? What is so important about my research paper that it should be published? So yes, I think at times the energy level, people do research. Students, they are very much inclined towards this particular module, but at times the reason why they are doing as an individual is lacking. Wherein I think now that the time is changing, so as facilitators, we should come into the picture and we should know very clearly why a student is doing it. having a lot of group discussions, giving them a lot of elements wherein you are just giving them topics where they have to come up with, let's say, graphics. No amount of research should be written, so you allow them to do a research on a topic, and you tell them that I don't want to see any written thing. I don't want to see any written content. But what I want from you is some engaging pictures related to it. Maybe you can design some comic strips depicting what your learning has been from this particular topic. So allowing them to do some, tits and bits of small activities will help them understand how they can redesign and recraft their papers, or how they can redesign and recraft their research, what they are doing. So because there are a lot of reforms and innovations happening, there has to be a different way as to how we as trainers are facilitating, how we as facilitators are approaching towards this particular, the segment of how and why a student should get into this particular subject matter. So that's where we come. That's where we as professors come into picture, so that we can actually make a difference, not just in the life of a student, but also in the lives of the readers. And that's where the spark comes into the entire research paper that your student designs, and then it gets published, and then people start reading it. That's where you feel happy, not just for your own selves, but also for your students. That's very important. So on the occasion of Teachers Day, this makes me wish all of you a very, very happy Teachers Day. To all the professors, to all the facilitators, educators who are there in this meeting room, a very, very happy Teachers Day to all of you. During the pandemic, we all have seen how lives have changed. We would have never imagined going back to as a facilitator, we never thought of using virtual classrooms as the only savior any time in our past. But now that the time has come when we only have virtual classes, which are the need of an hour, I would say, and we all have survived. It's been almost five and a half months that we are undergoing this pandemic situation, and there has been a lot of learning for us as well. So isn't this particular pandemic situation, as us as trainers, as facilitators, even this has made us do a lot of research, how to operate, what to do, what not to do, watching some videos, understanding it. So this is how learning experience happens. Make them do a lot of things, make them do a lot of activities when they're engaged into research. Research has to be one of the exciting professions in the coming times, and it is indeed going to be. For people who have never done research, for people who are not very inclined towards research, there are a lot of surveys which particularly state that people find this as very monotonous. People find it that this is all about book reading, but it is far beyond that now. It's really, really far beyond that. It's no more restricted to book readings. There are a lot of researches that people tend to do which are only and only based on graphics. Only and only based on graphics, and that is what I think ma'am was showing us in the last session. And that entire novel is particularly a graphic based novel, and you would not find not big written content. There would be content in the kind of comic strips, or maybe in the circles, in the pictures, and that also has a meaning to it. So when you're writing something, when they're doing some research, I want that now there should be an element of creativity, which is something very important. Because nobody at the present time feel like reading a lot. They feel like absorbing the content. As a reader, I feel like absorbing the content. I feel like listening to people. But when it comes to reading the entire 2,500, 3,000, or maybe more words, that's little monotonous. So yes, there has to be a lot of creative elements which actually makes the reader read the entire paper. So that is why innovations, reforms, creativity, as a facilitator, we all need to ensure that we bring in that particular element in this segment, in this particular subject, I would say. Is it good so far? Any questions, anyone? Any questions, teachers? All right. Great. moving ahead and talking about the reforms, talking about the kind of innovations. Black and white is no more the present trend. There has to be a lot of things that now students, that researchers, that scholars need to ensure while they are engaged in this particular activity, I would say, in this particular activity of being into the research zone. From a perspective, not just of a perspective of a student or maybe a research scholar, even from a perspective of I need to also ensure, even from the perspective of a trainer or maybe as a professor, as a teacher, you would see that there are a lot of things that are changing. And with the changing times, with the changing curriculum, with the changing era, we have also tried to adapt ourselves in the every possible odd situation that we have got in our life. Therefore, we have to allow them, we have to give them that particular space, saying that
Hello, Dr. Shivangi, are you there?
Hello. I think that there is a disconnection in her presentation. If may I request Dr. Shubhra to give her a call and see if she can connect again.
Okay, let me try.
All right, thank you, Shubhra.
Otherwise, I think she'll re-log in also.
Okay, she is okay.
I'll just try calling her.
All right.
So in the meanwhile, Madam Narula joins us. Let us discuss. There's a question by Dolly Loraya. How can we make our paper interesting? As you said, now nobody's ready to read much. So Abhimanyu, I hope you will take up this question.
Thank you, Dr. Shalini Rana. That this is indeed a very wonderful and a very practical question that Dolly has asked. Dolly has asked that how to make your paper very interesting as people are not very much interested in reading. Well, the only problem which the hitch with the upcoming of these techno vocabulary, I must say, with the WhatsApp chats vocabulary and chatting vocabulary, people have lost the track of reading the books properly. And since they don't read the books properly, they don't have a very good vocabulary. And when a candidate doesn't have a very good vocabulary, it is very difficult for the candidate to understand the paper. All right, and once the paper is difficult to understand, the interest is lost. So the vocabulary plays a very vital role, Dolly, in making the paper very interesting. So we need to identify our audience first, for whom we are writing. if you're writing for academicians or students or school-going candidates or freshers, so I believe the vocabulary plays a very vital role. I think Dr. Shalini, you must also agree with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you,
And,
sir. Abhimanyu, sir.
Okay, I think we have Shivangi back. Welcome back, Shivangi.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, please
All right.
continue.
So there was a question in the chat box, and I think Abhimanyu sir was answering that particular question. It's very important to because every research scholar is not I would say, a language graduate. So we have to really understand who the audience is, number one. Number two, it's not always about writing things which are not directly from your heart. So involving the element of emotions, it has to be really one of the essential things that we have to foster among our students, that they should have that emotional proposition to whatever they are writing. Identifying the audience, understanding what kind of words they should use, what kind of audience they are addressing, so that it's not just about creating a research paper for the name, for the sake of getting a name that you published a research paper. Research paper should be created for a lot of reasons, and that's where what I was saying was that we have to bring in that particular set of motivation among our students. If somebody is there into this profession, there is one such surety that we have, that particular candidate is very much interested, or he at least likes to do research. So analyzing the set of audience that we are trying to deal with, or whatever they are writing, that needs to be analyzed, and that needs to be analyzed from a student's side. Allowing your students, giving them some particular parameters, KPIs, to understand that why they are writing, what is the reason, who they want to address. Then the second important point which Sir picked up, which has been observed in a lot of other research papers, is that why vocabulary is one of the important aspects, is because students tend to overshadow the element of being what they are, who they are. We write because we want the world to listen to what we have for them. And that is where innovation, that is where motivation, we have to foster among our students, so that they understand that they have to be original. They don't have to sound mechanized. They don't have to sound like a computer. So yes, there should be a lot of emotional attributes attached to why they are writing, and even the language, the tone, the style, everything communicates. So research paper in itself is what? It is a live human communicating with the another human. So if your students, if the person understands what and how they are doing, they will really understand the need, the ardent desire to make that particular paper that communicative, that it can actually communicate with the audience. It can communicate with you and me. So your research paper is something that you're producing on behalf of yourself, which is going to communicate with the world outside. That particular mindset needs to be changed. What I'm trying to say is that students have been doing this, and students will be doing that in the near future as well. But all what we need to bring in is that some element of creativity. There was a question that how creativity can be engaged. Allow your students, listen to them, what they have. At times, research professionals, research scholars, they don't feel like talking much. Listen to them. Have some discussions. Allow them some time and space to share why they are doing it. What makes them write a research paper? If they are taken, if they ask to give away that particular opportunity of writing a research paper, how will that create a difference? If you are a research professional, you would definitely have some kind of feelings. You would have some kind of emotion which is going to make you write the paper. Allowing them to have a lot of graphics, allowing them to use some pictures, allowing them to add the values of emotions that they are writing with. Make them realize the importance of emotions with what kind of emotions they have while they are writing the paper. All what we need to do is we have to change the mindset, stating that now this paper has to communicate with the world. It's not going to be you. The paper is going to be there on behalf of you, which is going to communicate. Verbally, non-verbally, graphically, visually, whatsoever they want to term it as. So yes, there has to be an inclusion of a lot of elements that they want. Let them be original. There would be a lot of proofreading that would be required. Everybody would not be perfect at grammar. That doesn't mean they don't have the right to write a paper. So yes, giving them the sense of being who they are is very important at the first place. Allowing them to use their emotion as one of the powerful weapons to capture the audience for who they are writing actually. These are some of the elements which I would say that would not come directly. So there has to be some kind of activities that we are making them do. If it is in a classroom, maybe we can make them do some role plays. Maybe we can present a research paper in front of them, and we can tell them to read the research paper and quickly tell us how well you are able to understand the emotion of the person. Giving them some activities wherein they are discussing in a group. You are not intervening there in that particular group, but you're observing what your students are discussing, what have been their experiences while they are doing a research. Not a big research. Maybe you gave them a topic and they are doing research on that particular topic. You have to actually see how they are growing during that phase of research. The point is that we don't want to change what the research is. The point and the question here that I'm trying to discuss in today's session is that you have to change that journey. They are in the journey. Don't make that journey a destination for them. Let the journey be very beautiful. And it is you who has the power to make that journey more beautiful. You have the power to make that journey look like a journey rather than looking like a destination. So there are a lot of things that we need to do in the process. The end result remains the same. If they have boarded their, maybe let's say they have boarded a bus, so that bus will take them to Manali, that's for sure, if they have boarded a Manali bus. All what we need to do, the journey has to be very beautiful. If they go by plane, there's another route. That's another beautiful journey that they will experience. So that experience of being into research has to be changed so that this particular subject matter can be a great professional, choice for a lot of people in the industry. That's where we have to, picturize. We have to portray ourselves as the facilitators, as coaches, as mentors, as guides for our students. Make them realize why they are doing it. They should have a conclusion. They should have an answer to why and what they are doing. Understand how they are learning. How are you as a facilitator making a difference or making a change or making a transition in their journey? By not letting them be in a journey where they are going to definitely reach the destination with the known facts and figures. No. Allow them the chance to experience it. Give them a lot of activities. Instead of giving them a big topic, give them small topics. See how they are progressing. Use a diverse knowledge base that you have. Use diverse sources that you can see. Yeah.
Here comes one query, please. That what are the major differences we can explain between a script of a declamation paper or a research paper and review paper? Now, how can we differentiate before the students with the major?
I didn't get your question. I didn't get your question. How can we differentiate script paper? What did you say? I need to get the question again. Could you write the question?
Sometimes students write only articles, as you say, that small pieces of articles and all. So they write those articles, okay? And this is not a research paper. Research paper which are published in journals. Okay, and review paper. There are three, different. So how can we differentiate before the students? That what are the major differences between three of this?
All right. So as I told you that this is a journey. Okay, there is a process to it. When you're a kid, you're made to write essays, right? My favorite toy, my favorite. So there has to be a journey. If a student has joined a particular course or let's say a subject, you have to take it step by step. Research paper is the end of the story. So
Yes.
as a facilitator, you also have to do a lot of modern research that's happening. Right? So give them chances to analyze an article first. Give them a chance to analyze and critically analyze maybe another article that you have, and then going step by step and allowing them to see and create a research paper. Before creating a research paper, they have to analyze research papers. And the way they analyze research papers should not be they themselves doing it. That's where you have to come into picture. That's where you have to understand what kind of candidate you have and what should be the apt topic for him. Who should be the apt audience for him? That's where you are not just a counselor for them. You are there as a guide. You're there as a facilitator. You're there as a coach. That's where you are actually guiding your students in every up and down that they'll be facing in this entire journey. So give them small tips and bits at the beginning and then go at a higher pace. Research paper is almost the end of it. If they are actually in a process, if they are in a particular subject where they have to create a research paper, that's the end of the story, right? So go step by step. And then you have to understand, maybe giving them an article would also be a big thing at the first place. Maybe you gave them just a paragraph, okay? If, for example, you have to make them understand the concept of emotions, give them just a paragraph. Maybe you give them a video. पहले हमें समझना पड़ेगा कि what they are understanding, how powerfully, how powerful they are in terms of understanding things. How can they understand what people say? Because if they'll not understand what people say, they will not be able to communicate their idea to the audience that they have. So that is where, 21st century skills come into picture. And that's where these 21st century skills are not just there in research, but I would tell you, believe you me, it is there in every industry in today's time. Allow them a lot of time to collaborate with their friends, with their resources, with a lot of people around them. Allow them to do some surveys, allow them to talk to you, allow them to have a lot of discussions with the peers. Collaboration is very important at the first place. I'm telling you from a training perspective, wherein you are engaging and preparing a student to write a great research paper, which can be read by millions of people. Allowing them a lot of scope to do critical thinking. Understanding that how well they can understand the concept, what people are portraying in the papers, in the articles, in the videos. And then once they understand, once they collaborate, once they do some kind of critical analysis for what is happening in different things, they will be able to come up with some creative elements. They would have a lot of ideas. And then you are going to help them, then you are going to nurture them in that process of picking up the right topic, right audience, right content, right resources, so that they can communicate with the world. And the communication can happen in different ways now. Very soon we would have a lot of people creating videos for their research papers. As of now, they are just the black and white research papers that we get to see, or maybe graphic novels, or maybe graphic content. Very soon we would have a transition from this graphic to the most loved, source or medium, that is videos. People would be more engaged and happily doing and conducting and talking and creating their papers over videos. That can also be one of the possible scenarios in the near future. So that's where we have to make this journey not a destination, but a beautiful journey for all of your, or for all your students who are there, who are happily engaged with you as a facilitator, as a teacher. So the relation has to be not of a researcher. If you have been a professor specifically targeting and dealing with research as a subject matter, definitely you have been a research scholar or maybe a research professional. But don't show them. Go down to the level. Go back to the days when you started your research. Maybe at that time, we didn't have that so many resources to do our research. The research wasn't that easy. Maybe we had read a lot of books. But now, with the changing times, things are readily available, things are there with us. They are just a click away. So let them utilize this possible, the opportunity that they have got. And you have to bless them with everything that you know. You have to bless them with every experience that you have dealt, so that it becomes interesting for them. Isn't it?
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
So that's where 21st century skills come into picture, and That's where we are 21st century ready professors.
Yes,
All right. Talking about the
students are
20,
more innovative than
I know.
they're more
I really,
innovative.
I really understand that point of yours. And students are really interactive, really innovative. All what they need is the right guidance. And yes,
Yes, ma'am.
the subject matter expertise that we have as trainers, as professors, I think we can really help them in going over and above what we have done in our lives, or maybe what we have achieved in our lives.
Of course. Thank you, ma'am.
My pleasure. Now, yes. So allow them a lot of, these are the characteristics that I would say should be there in every candidate who is preparing to communicate a message to the world. 21st century skills, 21st century principles, from a training perspective or from a student's perspective or from a normal layman's perspective, I would say that every person should possess cognitive, intrapersonal, and interpersonal skills. It all starts with the kind of adjectives that you can see in these three bubbles: responsibility, social influence, assertiveness, leadership, empathy, trust, self-presentation, conflict management, professionalism, ethics, flexibility, evaluation, monitoring, active listening, innovation, creativity, problem solving, that's done, adaptive learning, critical thinking. These are some of the elements which fall into this particular, in different bubbles. But all in all, when they are integrated, when they're incorporated in a human, in a candidate, in a person of 21st century, that's where he is a professional. That's where he becomes someone who has the power to capture the world. So our subject should not confine to the only thing that we need to do, maybe the theory part of it, maybe something that we need to cover in our syllabus. It should go over and above the profession which they really want to, opt for in their future, or maybe the subject that they have chosen. That shouldn't just be the only thing that they have got. Allow them a 360-degree learning mechanism. You are going to be their soft skills trainer, you're going to be their business communication trainer, you're going to be their creative thinking, design thinking. Everything has to be done from you because you have the power to do that. That's how the curriculums are becoming interdisciplinary. That's where we have to bring in the interdisciplinary concepts, and we have to integrate these qualities with the things, with the activities that they are doing. So give them a lot of chance to do a lot of activities, make them speak, give them a lot of, chances to understand कि बच्चों के दिमाग में है क्या, what are they really looking up to, what does the scholars, what does your scholar particularly have. Allow them the chance to critically think, you scrutinize them, and then come up to a conclusion, and let us empower our lives by not just making them reach the destination safely, but by making their journey more beautiful by undergoing a lot of ups and downs. All right, so I'm sure you all could see something in this particular picture. I would want teachers to take a minute and very quickly tell me what are your observations from the picture that you can see on the screen. There is a picture on the screen. I would want each one of you to just have a look at it. And I would really want you to tell me what is there in the picture. Like, what can you see? All of a sudden, we have got a beautiful mountain, which we all have been really craving for now. It's been really long. We all are at homes.
Yeah, there is a beautiful design of a man on the mountain with the eyes, having made with the eyes. If you can notice that.
I got something from someone.
Yeah, I don't know how to show it to you, but yeah.
I got your point, but there was somebody else. I am sure your point is correct.
Okay. Let others participate.
Mountains, reflection in the water, yes. That's where I have made you derive to a particular topic. I've made you derive to that particular word which I really wanted to have from you. So before we start with anything, there are two learnings from the picture. One is that do not disclose the topic right to your students. let you go down to the level and let them speak. You have to just extract what they have in their minds. Once you have done that, you have tried to set up a context for the lecture. You have tried to set up a context for what you are going to do next. Second, reflections are very important. Allow them a lot of chance to accept, do, and conduct reflections for whatever they do. People will create a lot of things for you. Students will create a lot of research. They would come to you. Possibly, बहुत सारी बारी क्या होता है कि students they never come up with their with some papers that they have already written, because they already assume things saying that this would not work out. It's very important, at least from a research perspective, that allow them to understand how important reflections are, how important it is to take inputs from others, specifically when it is a research. What I meant by reflections is not really survey. What I really meant is that if they have written something, tell them. When you have not just, writing a research paper is a complete task. During that phase of writing a research paper, there are a lot of things that tend to happen behind the scenes. And most of the people, they are not really happy to, speak out or come out with that particular, the moment, the activity, the feeling that they have gone through. Tell them to reflect. Make them do some self-reflections. Allow them the chance to reflect their learnings, reflect their research via social media, via, maybe talking and communicating, allowing them to write something to you as a facilitator. Reflections are very important as a whole. Reflections would not just allow them to accept the feedback, but will also make them understand what is important, where are they going wrong, where are they going right, and how they need to amend themselves as an individual. Altogether, your role is to facilitate them. Otherwise, everything is readily available on internet. If somebody wants to write, they can find anything and everything on internet. Why they need you as a facilitator, why they need you as a guide, as a friend, is because they want you to help them. They want you to add that human touch so that the journey can be very exciting, can be very memorable. So allow them that time and space to reflect what they are doing. Let them do some self-reflection. Let them do some kind of reflection with their friends, with their connections. Allow them and tell them how important it is to share things that you do with the people around you. Accepting feedbacks, taking and giving feedbacks is again another art that they should learn while they are in research. And that's where we come to an end, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being very attentive during the session. There are a lot of things that we need to cover, and the topic is really, really big. But looking at the time, I would now like to stop. I would not take a lot of time as per the commitment. I'm stopping sharp at 6. So any doubts, anything that you have, I would love to take your doubts and would discuss about it.
That was quite a learning from your presentation, Shivangi. But however, when you talked about Train the Trainer program, it put me back into the nostalgia when I did Train the Trainer program for Neuro-Linguistic Programming and IELTS from British Council. And even before that, in 2007, when I did my first Train the Trainer program as an accent trainer plus as a corporate trainer. So it's been after a very long time I heard this term, Train the Trainers program. So thank you for refreshing my memories